Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to yet another very exciting episode of the Daily News with Eric Omondi, Le Presidente, Le Comédie Afrique. Tonight, we are talking about the royals, the British royals. Quite a story there. Talking about, of course, the Queen. We can't talk about the royals without talking about the Queen. The longest serving monarch, 1952 to 2023 or 22. I mean, Charles is the longest anticipated or wait monarch in history. 73 years waiting to be king. He started waiting when he was a kid, a teenager, a youth, and he married, remarried, divorced, and he became king at 73. And of course, the Queen was a very religious woman. She was always in church. She was coronated in church. She lived her life in church. And we were all assuming that she went to heaven. But that could be a good thing or maybe not. Because all the people who are colonized, especially Kenyans never forget. Kenyans will never forget. If they meet you in hell or in heaven, they'll remind you. Starting from even our first president, Jomo Kenyatta. Huyu mama litutesa. She'll be told from the gate. Yeah? Harambe! So I hope there's a palace in heaven and security in heaven as a Kenyan, because I know Kenyans never really forget or forgive. Kenyans will remember. They will remember colonization, they'll remember the royal family until the end of time. Even right now, Kenyans in heaven. Do you know Kenyans? In fact, I've been wondering, I'd love to see Kenyans in heaven, even Kenyans in hell. You know, Kenyans are very entitled. Yeah? I believe even this young Generation Z, can you imagine a Kenyan Generation Z arriving in heaven, very familiar with the people around them. They would arrive in heaven and go like, oh my God, tuko heaven, tuko binguni. And of course in heaven there's the gate, there is the angel Gabriel, and Kenyans would always, you know, they call the deputy president refugee. Atinaitwa nani? Yeah, these ladies get to the gate and they're like, oh my God, Sasa Gabu. they're already calling Gabriel Gabu. Let me ask you, are my friends, did they pity her here? There's some two girls, Susan and Angie. If they're in heaven, I'm also going to be in heaven because they cannot be in and I'm out, and I know their habits, yeah? So Kenyans are Kenyans are the only people who will get to heaven and ask for Wi-Fi. I can promise. What is even hell? What is the Wi-Fi? Shaito, Satan, Lucifer, what is the Wi-Fi? And of course, you know the Wi-Fi in hell is fire, baby. Yeah, that's the Wi-Fi password, fire, baby. And the username is Choma Zone. If you get Choma Zone, yeah. So I hope the Queen is safe. If she's in heaven, because of the Mau Mau. Kenyans hold grudges in hell, in heaven, on earth, in their dreams, in their sleep. So this is not over. As we finish on this issue of the royals, and especially the British royal, I'm told that the king will be visiting, and actually has been confirmed, that he'll be visiting Kenya. I think sometimes next month or the month after. I have an idea. Right now in Kenya, things are not so good. The cost of living is very high. The fuel prices are skyrocketed. Sugar is very expensive. Flour is extremely expensive, and life is very hard. How about when the king comes, we ask them to colonize us again, just for 2 years. Then they build roads, they build schools. Then we raise the living standards. That is something that I'm intending to talk to the king personally as the president of comedy in Kenya. I know I can have access to the king. I will suggest that to him for just 1 year. For just 1 year. Talking about the Mau Mau, we were not there when the Queen and the British came to colonize Kenya. We were not born yet. So when we were born, we saw a few of the Mau Mau fighters. Some are still alive until today. But some of the stories they tell us we do not think are true. But they take advantage of the fact that we were not there. And they will tell you, why are you there? Why are you there? Like one of my grandfathers was telling me how he fought with the Mau Mau We fought against the white occupation of 1952 to 59. Sit down, I tell you the story. I remember one evening when we were fighting and the British Army threw a grenade, and I took a maize comb and I blocked the grenade and it exploded and the maize was roasted. It's a lie! It's a lie. I saw a submarine. The submarine came from the sky. Submarine came from the sky! But we appreciate the Mau Mau for fighting for our freedom. Talking about the royals, a lot has happened in this family, the British royals. And Meghan Markle, I don't know how to pronounce that word, Meghan Markle is a special African or black woman. Because every woman, not just black, every woman wants to be married to a prince. That's the dream of every woman. Or at least every woman wants to be married into the royal family. Meghan is the only woman who got married into the royal family and opted out. Sister. Hey, if my sister got married in the royal family, she stays there. She stays there. We will sort those family differences in a family meeting. You stay in the royal family. Yeah? You stay and you know, we also have royal families in Africa. Yeah? And we sort our issues differently in Africa. It is impossible for a prince to marry a woman or a princess and they divorce. We will handle the situation culturally. And if you have to go in Africa, if you have to go, you leave the kids. But in Europe or in Britain, Meghan and Harry left with the kids. In Africa, you leave the kids. You go, leave the children behind. And most people say that in Africa, we lost our culture. We no longer have royals. We don't have royal families. We do have royal families, even in Nairobi. There are royals. There are kings in this city. You need just to go out at night and you'll meet royals, kings. Anybody in a local club who pays bills is a royal, is a king or a queen. Kiongos, Bazoo, Mudosi, yeah? That is a royal, and they have as many queens as they can. And they can even take your queen. So long as, and even you can be a queen, even if you're a man, yeah? You can be a queen to that royal. Kiongos, Mudosi, Bazoo, those are royals in Nairobi. A person who pays for bills and alcohol and food in a club for the entire night is a king. The chair he sits on, he has servants, he has subjects. He sits there like, Buddha, he is a Muswati, yeah? And he can have any woman in the club, yeah? He can have any queen in the club, yeah? Ladies and gentlemen, by the way, I'm very excited to do this daily news show because my dream always was to be a news anchor or a reporter. I actually studied journalism and communication. It's called electronic media in Desta University. My dream was to be a reporter, yeah? And in fact, my only interaction with royalty since I was born was when I went to Uganda to the Kabaka Mutesa. The kingdom is still there. The palaces are there. I went to do a story about the Kabaka Mutesa. Kabaka Mutesa 2. Yeah? Because in Kenya we didn't have royals. We didn't have kings. But there were kings in Uganda called Kabaka. So I go to Uganda with my camcorder. I go to the palace and I did a story on the Kabaka. Everything is there. The artifacts are there. He had a leopard. So those leopards are still there. They are preserved. The actual leopards from the 16-something, 17-something of the Kabaka. They're still there until today. So I go to Uganda and I didn't tell my bosses at NTV by the way. I wanted to surprise them with my talent. So I got there with my camcorder and I was reporting. That was the worst reporting ever because I was trying to mimic a gentleman called Robert Nagila. So I was there. This is Eric Omondi in Kampala, here at the Kabaka Mutesa, NTV, Nairobi. And then I came back to NTV, I edited the feature, it went on air, and then the editor, yeah, Emmanuel Juma, he saw it on air. He was like, what is that? Pull out, remove it. And that's how I ended up doing comedy. But my experience with the Ugandan royals was amazing. It was superb. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, boys and girls, thank you once again for joining us for yet another very exciting episode of the Daily News with Eric Omondi. I hope you enjoyed the episode on royals. I hope to see you next week. Bye bye.